Well, a couple of weeks ago, we told you about members of the Jewish Federation of San Antonio heading to Poland to get a firsthand account of what's going on with the war in Ukraine.
Well, now the group has returned, and this morning we are joined by the president and CEO of the nonprofit, Nammie Ichilov, to tell us what they experienced over there. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, Nammie. Good morning to you. Can you tell us about what you saw and what we are not seeing here in the United States in day-to-day coverage?
Absolutely. As you just aired there, what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis is pretty much the occurrences of the situation in Ukraine in the status of war. What we had the opportunity to see was actually the refugees that are making it out of Ukraine and what's happening with them, how they're being taken care of, the process of being able to help them find some kind of a normal life after escaping the scenes that are being shown right now.
And how are the local contributions here being used to support victims over there?
Sure. So when we were there, we were able to hear some incredible stories. It was just story after story in terms of each individual experience. There was a vascular surgeon, a mother of two, who had to just grab her two daughters. She was living in the Donbass region. She grabbed her two daughters, their two dogs, got into the car and just drove west. It took them about 7 days to get out of the Donbass region, spending time on people's floors, on couches, and being able to make it finally to the Ukraine-Poland border, at which time they were basically greeted with tents of volunteers trying to give them whatever they needed, whether it was food, water, even a phone charging station. Something in 21st century we don't really think about, but people didn't have places to charge their phones as they were escaping. So finally they were able to charge their phones at the border and be able to call their loved ones back in Ukraine. Also, there were hotels after being processed at the border. They're put onto buses and taken to a humanitarian aid center where they're given a little bit of respite, some cots for a day or two while they're processed and identified, and then they get to choose the countries, or if the countries have space in Europe to be able to house them, they make application for it, and then they sort of make their way again, continuing west. We also spent some time in Warsaw, where the Jewish community has supported the rental of hotels. Basically, at the peak of the refugees escaping, there were as many as 9 hotels completely booked up, paid for by donations locally, to be able to help these refugees get some have a shower, have a little bit of privacy, be able to help some of these families. We heard the stories of one young adult, a 20-year-old grandchild, who was sharing that their family are very much a patriarch and matriarch family, and the grandparents didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave their home that they had built over the last number of decades, and it wasn't until 2 weeks of no electricity in freezing cold temperatures, and 2 weeks of no water, where they had to go to a local well to access some basic water access, that the grandfather was finally diagnosed with frostbite on his feet. That the family said, okay, you're losing we're taking away your veto power to leave. And they basically put him in the car, drove him across the border, had to leave the car obviously at the border, and then walk across into Poland, where they were helped along to these hotels. The scenes are incredible. It's one story after another. There was a lady from Odessa, on the border, on the coastal of city of Odessa, that when she remembers when she was 2 years old, the bombs of the Nazis bombing from the waters on the coastline of Odessa, and her being taken, by her family, into a hiding. And now, as an 80 something year old, she was the matriarch of the family, telling them, okay, it's time to get out again. it was a pretty incredible
I
experience.
bet it was. Nammie, real quick, we only have a few seconds left. What else can people here do to help in this effort?
Sure. So we're really investing our time and energy into the Republic of Moldova. It's the poorest country in Europe. The average income is $3,300 per year. And so we are really helping the locals be able to help the refugees that are coming across the border there. Unfortunately, part of this trip, we weren't able to actually get into Moldova. Chisinau, the capital, the airport there is completely closed up. So we were only able to sort of help by sending some of the supplies that were donated here. We are raising funds here still. 100% of every dollar that we raise is going directly to helping these refugees and the locals in crisis. We appreciate every penny. Every penny makes a difference, and we really want to make sure that we continue this fight. The greatest fear that the refugees have is that the attention of the West will only last for so long, and the devastation and the time it will take to rebuild is unlimited at this point.
All right, Nammie Ichilov, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Nammie.
Really appreciate it. Thank you both.
Of course.